Hi guys, it's Alex the Magician here, and this video is going to be just a quick overview of Dungeon, as well as some basic strategy tips on how to play Dungeon specifically. I will not be doing a demonstration of the first couple of turns because, just for the sake of making the video shorter, because the last video turned out pretty long, and I think the demonstration is going to be pretty similar to what you saw in the previous video. So if you'd like a demonstration of how I'm playing the first couple of turns with Dungeon, check out the previous video on the basic turn 1 and 2 strategy for Jebus Cross. Now, Dungeon is a pretty strong town, and there are a few things that make it strong. So, first of all, you have the Portal of Summoning, which allows you to recruit additional creatures from any creature dwelling that you take outside. So, for example, like if we find a dragon cave like this, that means that we don't just get one dragon, we get 2 dragons, which makes it really strong. Because with 2 dragons, you can take much more difficult fights, and you can just get a lot more done. The other thing that makes the town strong is the Mana Vortex. So this doubles your spell points, which makes it really good for basically anything. So even when you're maining a hero like Shakti, who does not get a lot of knowledge and mana normally, with double mana, he is going to get a decent amount. It's going to be enough to at least be able to do the main break. So generally, you're going to be starting with Shakti. There could be other heroes that you want to main, but in this tutorial, I will just consider that we're just going to be maining Shakti, because mainly you are going to be doing that. The other thing that makes Dungeon strong is that the heroes have a high chance of getting Earth Magic, and Earth Magic is really important because a lot of times when you're fighting the break, for example, here we have the Dread Knights, and they're pretty fast, and slow is going to be important to helping kill them. So when you first start playing Dungeon, and any town, really, any town when you're starting for a warrior hero and not a mage, your main fighting stack, the army that you start with basically, is going to be very, very important. So for the first couple of turns and for the first couple of fights, you want to conserve that stack as much as possible, because if you lose it, you have no way to get other creatures. Again, as I've mentioned in a previous video, you don't really want to depend on building creature dwellings in your castle. You want to focus on farming objects like creature dwellings outside, like the pickets, like the conces, like the hives, and other things like that. So, and that's what's going to give you the most tempo. So, when you scout on turn 1, you're going to be looking for things like that. So, the Dragon Cave is really helpful to have. Pickets, I don't necessarily like to take early because they're going to be hard to take. The Wolf Raiders are fast and they hit hard, so you're going to be losing a lot of your troglodytes. And then when you get Cyclopes, they're not really going to help you take too many other objects because they're shooting units. And because they're shooting units, when you go in another picket or a hive or a conce, they're going to get attacked. And they're not going to be able to shoot, and they're just going to get killed. So it's much better to have things like dragons, like angels, like wyvern from the hive for the early fights. And then if you have a decent number of pickets, once you have a couple of angels or a couple of dragons, some wyvern, then you can do these fights in the pickets and they're not going to be as difficult. And then you can snowball a stack of Cyclopes. So usually on turn 1, what you're going to be looking for are dragon caves and conces and hives. You can take a dragon cave generally if the guard is not too difficult. This guard would not have been too difficult, but he's guarding a lot of other stuff and probably a really good spell scroll, so we actually cannot do this fight on turn 1, but eventually we would be able to. So I still think this is a good thing that we have this dragon cave here. Now, conces on turn 1, turn 2, with your starting stack, you can only do the mini cons. So if you do find a conce close by, you want to scout it with your side heroes, you want to check it. And if it's a small one, if it's a mini, then you can go ahead and take that on turn 1 or turn 2 or wherever. And as far as hives go, you can take a hive that's a size 1, 2, or 3. As long as you don't lose too many units killing the guard that's guarding the hives. So those are the things that you want to take as early as possible so you can start snowballing an army stack that's stronger than your starting stack of troglodytes. And when you do that, when you start to get like 2 dragons, like 1 angel, let's say 6 or 8 wyvern, you will start to trade away your starting stack of troglodytes for those stronger units. So once you already have, let's say, 2 dragons, then your stack of troglodytes is not going to be as important. You're probably going to lose, I don't know, somewhere around 40 troglodytes trying to kill the guard for the dragon cave and the dragons themselves. So if your starting stack of troglodytes is around 120 and then you're left with 80 and 2 dragons, then that's still pretty good. That's good, and you can continue. Usually, when you see a dragon cave, that's almost reason enough to say that you want to play this and not restart, as long as the guard is not too difficult. Of course, you do want to see other objects, but still, having 2 dragons on turn 2 is pretty strong. Also, if you can take a Khans that's a size 1 on turn 1 or 2, that's also a good argument to continue. And also, if you can take a hive that is a size 2 or 3, that's also a good argument to continue. You may also want to get some experience for Shakti, but that's secondary to the army. Although it is going to help. If you have a Pandora's box that's really close, you may want to take that first and then do the fight so that you can level Shakti so that the early fights are going to be easier for you. And of course, we're also looking for artifacts. So we actually see a Tome of Earth here, and that alone is almost reason enough to actually continue and not take a restart, because that is super strong. With this, we can actually main a mage hero, and we can actually even stay in our biome for a little while and take these Dragon Utopias, for example, because they're close by. And with the Earth Tome, we can use like summon Earth Elementals or something like that. So now that I saw this, maybe our strategy here would be to try to buy a hero who's actually going to be a mage, and we would be maining him. We're going to try to get him as much experience as possible with his treasure chest, spell power here, probably take the Pandora's box because this one probably has experience, and after that, kill these guys to get the Tome of Earth, and then the mage does the Utopias, for example, or like the Kansas, or whatever objects we need to take. So, but that strategy is a little bit more difficult to pull off. So, generally, when you start playing with Dungeon, I would still focus more on army objects. So, standard here, I would want to check this Khans, I would want to check this Khans, and we also see another Dragon Cave here, so I would actually want to plan on how I can take this Dragon Cave and this Dragon Cave. So first, I would probably try to send my main hero, Shakti, actually this way, to take this Dragon Cave. So I can actually make that there in 2 turns. So on first turn, I would actually not be upgrading my troglodytes as I usually would. I would probably be getting the Battle Scholar Academy. This way Shakti gets some more experience. And I would just get as many heroes as I can, so that I can scout whatever else I needed to scout, right? In this case, I just used the cheat to make the whole map visible, of course. We would have been able to scout this Tome of Earth. I'm not sure if we would have been able to scout this Dragon Cave, though, on turn 1. But since we do have it, just for the sake of argument, this is where I would have sent Shakti right away. Okay, and just for the sake of argument, I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna take that Dragon Cave. next turn. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna buy one more hero, so I can bring Shakti the Troglodyte stack and all these other units, and he's gonna do this fight. Alright, since we have the vision, we have to watch our opponent, that's a computer, play his turn. So we do want to upgrade the Troglodytes, of course. And we want to bring as many units as possible with us. Okay, so Shakti is going for this fight. Alright, actually, auto combat only loses 4 Troglodytes, which is very, very acceptable for me. So I actually think I'm going to agree with that and not try to do something and maybe mess it up. So sometimes you do want to agree with auto combat, and sometimes you do want to change it and try to do better. So now we're going for the dragons. See, auto combat was not able to do that, but we should be able to. Okay, and what we want to do is take retaliation. And attack with Troglodytes. That's fine. That's exactly what I wanted him to do. Alright, he did attack my Troglodytes, so I lost 13 of them, which is not bad at all. So, 1 dragon and still 97 Troglodytes. That's really good. Then we can portal the dragons, so we'll have 2 dragons, 97 Troglodytes. We may even be able to do this fight with these basilisks now. We can probably take some of these pickets, like this one and this one. And maybe this cons as well, so I'm actually going to check that. That's a big one, so we can't take that right now. But now what we're going to plan for is when can we actually take this Tome of Earth? So I think the main plan would actually be to go for this picket and this picket. Actually, probably not this one because there's a lot of monks here. So maybe this picket and maybe this dragon cave. And then after that, go for this Tome of Earth. And after that, I would actually probably main a mage hero who can then do the Utopias and good things like that. So if you see things like that, so you're gonna need to plan around something. Like you're gonna need to find something on the map that you can build your strategy around. So for example, dragon caves, for example, objects like the conses, good artifacts like that, like seeing a Tome of Earth. You're not gonna have a Tome of Earth in your biome that often, so if you do, then that's almost reason enough to continue. Or other good artifacts like the teapot and things like that. And the Tome of Earth is one of the best things you can have in the game, actually, because you get Implosion, you get Summon Earth Elementals, Meteor Shower, Resurrect, Town Portal. Those are all very, very good spells, especially in the later games for some of these tougher fights. If we did not have that, let's say we had instead more pickets, right? Like we had maybe 3 pickets, no Tome of Earth, and no conses. We would try to build our strategy around the pickets. We would try to take as many pickets as we actually can so we can build a stack of Cyclops. Then we can kill this break with the Cyclops stack with slow. The same way, you know, if we have a lot of conses, if you have a lot of one type of object, you want to try to build your strategy around trying to take that. And that goes for basically any town, not just dungeons. So the thing that's going to be different for dungeon is just how you start. The dragon caves or other creature dwellings, even like the manticore lairs or labyrinths, are gonna be useful for dungeon because you have the town portal, or I mean the portal of summoning. So that's gonna be more useful to you than the top tier creature dwellings for other towns, although those are still gonna be pretty useful. So if you have a Portal of Glory when you're playing Castle, for example, that's still going to be a really useful object to take, so you can get an additional angel. Okay guys, this is pretty much all that I wanted to share for the basic overview and strategy for Dungeon. Again, I will record a video later on me playing the entire first week, or maybe, you know, a little bit more until we actually get to the break, so that you guys can have a better idea of how you know, I execute things like this, like how I would take the Earth Tome and the Basilisks here for the other Dragon Cave, the Conses, the Utopias, and how the overall strategy would look, so that you can actually go for the break as soon as possible. So keep a lookout for that video. I'm not gonna do it right now because that's just gonna be a really long video. That's probably gonna be a 2 or 3 hour video. So for the sake of keeping it short and sweet, I'm gonna end this video here. So thank you guys for watching, and if you want to see more Heroes 3 content, I actually stream Heroes 3 live on Twitch every weekday starting around noon European time. I'll leave the link to my Twitch stream in the description below. And if you guys want to check it out, please follow me, so that way you'll get notified when I go live. So again, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.